wow, I don't really know if I like this anymore, and effectively change your life from this point forward. Do I really want to do this to take you from where you are now to where you want to be? Hi, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessica. I'm a former nurse practitioner turned health and mindset coach, and I teach people how to create their dream life and find true, lasting wellness. If that sounds like something you want, then just keep watching. If you are a human, you likely know the feeling of it being Sunday night, tomorrow's Monday, and you are so excited, on top of the world, to make this big, huge life change that you have been wanting to make, and tomorrow is the day. You have everything set, all your ducks in a row, and you are ready to go. You've done all the extra work that you need to do in order to make this change tomorrow, and you are excited. You're excited for Monday so that you can make this change. Monday comes, goes pretty good. You might have a couple little bumps, but you're still excited because, you know, you want to change your life. You've been wanting to do this for a while, and you have the motivation. You're on day one, so you are excited. That's pretty normal. Tuesday comes, and you still kind of feel excited. You're like, I'm doing this. Day two in the books, done. And then Wednesday comes, or Thursday comes, and something happens at work or in your personal life that kind of ruffles your feathers, and you're like, wow, I don't really know if I like this anymore. Do I really want to do this? How bad do I really want this? That is usually the time where you kind of have that F it mentality and you go and do some form of self-sabotage, whatever that looks like for you. This is a very common series of events that I've experienced many times. I'm sure you have experienced many times, and it can be pretty frustrating. If you're wanting to make a big change in your life, this series of events is not going to help you. It's not going to get you where you want to be, and it's probably just going to piss you off. So how can you actually change your life? How can you actually get to the point of making that change that you have been wanting to do for a while? How do you get to that point and sustain it and enjoy it and feel like you're doing really good at it? How do you get to that point? Is it just some la land that nobody really ever experiences? No, you actually can get to that point. But you have to know the things to do and not to do to get to that point. And we're going to talk about those today. Here are 6 things that you need to do to actually change your life. First of all, you need to know that it is way less common to make one big, massive change from today to tomorrow and have it stick indefinitely than it is to make multiple small little changes over time and achieve one and move on to the next and get to the next one and move on to the next. Small little changes are way more realistic, more common, and more doable than one big, huge change. When you look out at someone else's life and you see that they made this big, massive change in their life and it seems like it happened virtually overnight or over the course of a month or something, and you're like, why can't I do that? It gets you kind of down on yourself, kind of doubting if you can even do it. Know that it's actually way more likely that whoever you're looking at and comparing yourself to did that same thing. You see the transformation. You see the before and after. But what you don't see is everything in between. And if they're a not so good person, they might even try to make you think that it happened that quick. But usually it doesn't happen that quick. So tell yourself that it is normal and you are actually normal. And not anything to be disappointed at and not anything to get frustrated about if you need to make small little changes and stick to them over time in order to get to that big change. The next thing is that you really need to evaluate what things would actually change your life for the better and what things you just kind of think would. Example, many of us think that if I just lose this weight, I will be happy. We've talked about it in some of my previous videos. That is seldom the case. Very rarely do you get to that point of weight loss and all your problems are gone. Everything is perfect and you're happy, because what usually happens is you get to that point and there's something else that you don't like, something else you want to change, something that still feels like it's missing because you haven't done the real work on the inside. So looking at your life and thinking, what actually would improve my life? And not just like on the outside, on the deeper level. Usually that looks like doing the inner work, finding ways to really learn how to be happy from the inside out rather than things on the outside that you think will make you happy. Buying something new, buying a new car, buying a new house, going on vacation. Those things are all great, but that is not going to make you happy on the inside. That might make you momentarily joyful. Sure, I hope it does. But long term, that is not going to be the thing that really changes your life. So reevaluating what things are actually really important for you. Another example, cutting out every piece of food that you enjoy. Believe it or not, I've heard so many people say this, that, oh, I just cut out everything that I like and that's what helped me lose weight. Well, but how enjoyable has your life been in the meantime? My guess is not very much. And you might be able to stick with that for a little while, telling yourself, well, I'm doing it to lose some weight. But no one can stick with that forever. And if you can, I'm sorry, but I feel bad for you. I want you to enjoy your life more than that. So rather than cutting out all the foods that you enjoy or the food group that you enjoy the most, thinking that that's what's going to help you feel better about yourself, let's instead think maybe looking at your negative self-talk and the things that you say to yourself inside your head that make you feel not so good. Because I will tell you with zero doubt that negative self-talk is one of the biggest blockages to truly being happy. So every time that you feel yourself saying something bad about yourself, catching yourself and reframing it somehow. Those are the things that will actually improve how you feel. And if you decide that starting tomorrow, for example, I'm going to work on no negative self-talk or reducing my negative self-talk, chances are that in a week's time, you will feel immensely better than if you cut out all your favorite foods for a week. Number 3 is find what brings you joy. This kind of plays into the last one, but this is important enough to be its own kind of segment. So finding what brings you joy. We can look at and see that X, Y, or Z makes this person really happy or what we think is happy. But then when we do it, we're like, I don't really feel that happy. A lot of us, most of us, are so detached from the actual feeling of joy, of truly feeling joy, that we have no idea what really brings us joy. We think that superficial things like going out to a fancy dinner or going on vacation, buying something new, this might not be a catalyst to a huge, big change in your life right now, day to day. But in the long run, when you look back on the last year or 6 months or whatever, you will notice that your life actually has improved so much. Learning what brings you joy, paying attention to that little feeling of kind of excitement within you. And it's similar to that feeling that you get when you're going on vacation, that like really excited feeling. But I've learned, at least for me, that true joy is a lot smaller than that. It's a little feeling in the belly, deep in my belly, that is just like a little tickle. It almost feels like butterflies and it feels good. And I get this from so many different things. But 2 years ago, I truly had no real idea what brought that to me. So finding what brings you joy, true joy, is a huge piece of the puzzle, because without connecting that missing link, you're not really going to be able to find out what changes in your life you need to make to actually improve your life in your mind. It might look good from the outside, or other people might say, wow, you look so good, or what's going on in your life? And on the inside, you still feel miserable because you're just pretending. So really finding out what fills all those little spaces inside of you and makes you feel whole, what fills your cup, what brings you joy. If you put effort in to learning that, to figuring that out, and then to actually engaging in those things on a regular basis, I promise it will help change your life over time. All right, so number 4. This, again, kind of goes into the last one, but instead of joy, we're talking about what is your motivation? What is your motivation at this time in your life? Example, if you are comparing yourself to others your age and you think that I should be wanting to settle down and start a family, but those things don't really appeal to you right now. You want to spend some more time being single and exploring the world on your own before you settle down and have kids. Using that as a motivation is not going to get you very far. You might be able to get by with that as your motivation for a little while, but if that is not what you truly want at this point in your life, if maybe you want instead to start a business, doing those things to set your life up for a partner and kids is not going to make you feel motivated. And yeah, motivation is not something that always has to be present. It actually goes away quite often, but there has to be an initial motivating force for any change that you make in your life. So if you really, in your core, want to start a business, it gives you that fire inside of you and it makes you feel excited. But instead, you're trying to make it seem like you want to start a family and find a mate and all of that stuff. You're going to feel incomplete. You're not going to feel very good. So finding what your motivation is and being okay with that, being honest with yourself. I don't want to start a family right now. I shouldn't have to want to just because my friends are doing that. I can want to have my own business and build that up and then meet somebody. That's okay. So finding what your motivation is, your specific motivation, not what their motivation is or their motivation is. What is your motivation? Spending time to figure that out and then let that help you change little by little, setting goals to get to that point. Another thing that I really recommend is writing down those motivations, because I promise you, there will be times, there is for everyone, there will be for you too. There will be times where your motivation is nowhere to be found. You don't want to do it anymore. You're frustrated, whatever. You just don't feel like anything's happening. Go back and look at those motivating factors. What really are you wanting to bring into your life or change about your life? What were you wanting at the start of this process? Read that. Let that get you excited again. Remind yourself what you want. So write those things down right now at the beginning of your journey and then reflect on that as you go through your journey. On that note, also journaling as you go through and write your feelings, write what you're frustrated about, write what you feel good about, write your milestones, write the things that you check off your list, because looking back on those things in moments of kind of feeling discouraged or down will help you see, oh, I actually have done a lot of stuff. So let me get my head out of and get back on track. All right, number 5, be careful who you talk to. This is a really big one that at first, when you start out on something like a big change in your life, the natural instinct is to want to tell people. You want to tell your friends, your family, your coworkers. You want to tell them, hey, I'm going to do this. I am excited. I want to do this. You're excited. You want to share it with others. I encourage you to be very selective with who you share that with, because all it takes is one person who may have different motives. They might not really support you or think that you can do it, or they may be jealous, or they may be completely innocent and just say the wrong thing. But all it takes is one person saying, you can't do that. Why would you do that? And then that big dream that you have gets shot in the foot. Don't let that happen. I would encourage you to just keep it to yourself, or just find one person that you really trust, that you know that you could tell anything to and they're going to be supportive. If you don't have a friend like that, or a sibling like that, or a parent like that, I encourage you to keep it to yourself. But if you have one person like that, if you're lucky enough to have someone like that, tell them and say, listen, I need your support in this. Please don't tell me you don't think I can't do it. Please don't give me any negative feedback. Constructive feedback is a little bit different, but we're not going to get into that now. But tell them that you need their support before you even tell them what it is. And if you get the vibe that they might not actually be in support, you don't have to go through with telling them. I would encourage you not to tell them. Like I said before, keep it to yourself. There's nothing wrong with keeping it to yourself and maybe journaling about it, maybe making video journals like this, talking to yourself, talking to your future self. There's nothing wrong with that. Keep it to yourself and let the results speak for themselves. Or, like I said, find one person that you really trust, that you know would always support you, and tell them and let them cheer you on, go to them for ideas, that kind of stuff. That's okay if you have someone that you really trust. But don't go telling everyone about it, because chances are you're going to get way more negative feedback than you bargained for. You're probably going to get more negative feedback than positive feedback, depending on who your circle is. So there's really no point in telling everyone and letting people bring your energy down about it. So be careful who you tell. Finally, number 6, you can do all these things right. Set up your joy, your motivation, tell your one trusted person, and do all these things right. But if you do this one last thing, you can completely sabotage yourself. And that is doubting that it can actually happen. What you believe and what you feel is possible on the inside part of you is so important. And if you really believe that nothing ever changes, or I always fail at something, or why am I even doing this because it's not going to have any, impact anyways. If you really feel like that on the inside, you might as well throw it all away, because none of it's going to really make that much of a difference if you really believe that it's all pointless. So telling yourself that I'm doing this because I know I'm capable of changing my life. I saw this person do it. That means I can do it. I am my own person and I am capable of changing my life or doing X, Y, or Z on my own. And just because I have always thought that I can't do it or nothing has changed in the past doesn't mean that right now isn't the turning point. So stop telling yourself all that negative stuff and let yourself believe that it's possible for you. There's literally nothing bad that could come from actually believing it. Okay, you could get let down if it doesn't happen. Sure. Okay, the flip side is that it could actually happen and you could feel the amazingness of seeing one of your dreams come true, or one of these big changes in your life that you've been trying to make actually come to fruition. So stop thinking that it's not possible and let yourself instead believe that it is possible and get excited about it, because what you believe is so important. So all of this being said, this should really go to show you that this big life change that you see in your mind that you really want, all of these little things that you have to do to get to that point, it's not realistic for it to happen by tomorrow. And you shouldn't get down on yourself if it doesn't happen by tomorrow. Give yourself grace. Give yourself time. Set little individual goals. I can make another video about this if you would like, a video about setting goals and how to achieve those things, and really how to get yourself in the mindset of doing the things that you want to do rather than just thinking about it. How do you actually make it happen? I can make another video if you would like. Just let me know in the comments. But be easy on yourself, for Pete's sake. Changing your life is a big deal. You can make it happen, but don't be upset with yourself if it doesn't happen by tomorrow or by next month. It can take years sometimes, and don't let that get you down. It can take years, but when you look back, so much has changed, and so much has changed for the better, and so much has happened in that time. And everything that happens to you happens so that you can grow and learn, and all the experiences, even the uncomfortable ones, are there to teach you different things. So let yourself be guided along your journey and be excited about it, and know that that change that you see actually can happen. You just have to let it happen. If this resonated and you want to see more, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss my next video. Bye guys.